Hello everyone. In this third lecture of week 10 for our course Metrics and Analytics of Marketing, we will be discussing about various metrics associated with the channel management. Namely, we will be discussing about numeric, ACV, PCV distribution, phasing and share of self. So, as per the abbreviation goes, ACV stands for all commodity value and then PCV stand for product category volume. So, in a nutshell, if I have to summarize this matrix, these metrics indicate the extent of availability of your brand across various outlets in the market. So, the genesis of this particular matrix, set of matrix, lies on the two various categories of marketing. Some of you might be aware about two categories of marketing. One is called the push marketing and another one is called the pull marketing. Basically, what is pull marketing? Customers will demand product from a particular brand. So, if customers are willing to search or switch a particular outlet in case a particular brand is not available, then this kind of marketing, if you can achieve this kind of level, if you can create a perception of your brand in such a level, then basically you are trying on the pull marketing. That means you are pulling the customers. Your demands are generated because of the customer's demand. Another approach is that you are making your product available at every nooks and corner of the market. Then in that case, customers will visit a particular outlet and he or she will find that he or she will purchase whatever is available, whatever brand of that particular product category is available in that particular outlet, he or she will purchase that. Then in that case, it is more of a push marketing. So, in case of push marketing, we are trying to push our products in the various outlets of the resellers. So, this is how the concept, conceptually they are different. In one case, customers are making sure that the outlets are stocking a particular brand. On the other hand, in case of push marketing, the resellers are making sure that customers will be buying this particular brand, right. So, now you can, depending on the context, depending on the dynamics of the market, you might have to adopt either pull marketing or push marketing, right. So, overall the genesis of this particular matrix, this set of matrix are that we want to see to what extent our products are being conveniently made available to our customers. So, let us dive more into the topic. Let us look into an overview of numeric, all commodity volume and product category volume distribution matrix. Distribution matrix quantify the availability of products sold through resellers, usually as a percentage of all potential outlets. Often outlets are weighted by their share of category sales or all commodity sales. So, how we will visualize this particular concept is that let us say we are selling product X. So, I know let us say product X is it belongs to the cosmetic category. Then in that case, definitely we cannot expect this product to be available in a grocery store or inside a restaurant, right. So, what we will calculate? Probably we will look into all the grocery stores in the particular city or in that particular country. So, now let us say there are 1000 shops in that particular city. So, and if I consider that this particular city is my market, I am not considering any market beyond this particular city. So, out of this 1000, how many outlets, how many cosmetic shops are keeping my product, my brand X? So, that gives me an indication regarding whether my distribution is intensive or is it limited or is it kind of exclusive. So, if it is intensive, let us say out of 1000 outlets, I am available in 90% of the stores, that is 900 stores. Then I can fairly assume that even if there is no pull marketing, even if there is no organic demand from the customers, the resellers are making sure that their shelves are being filled by my product, and probably I will have a fair share of the overall market. For marketers who sell through resellers, distribution metrics reveal a brand's percentage of the market access. Basically, it talks about the accessibility level, how easily a customer can get access to a product. So, one example of intensive distribution can be of Amul milk. Let us say I can get Amul milk in my neighborhood shop, but let us say I cannot get soda milk in the neighborhood shop. Then in this particular situation, and I do not have any preference either for soda or for Amul, right, but I will end up purchasing Amul because of convenience, because of the availability in the nearest outlet, right. So, that also matters, that also becomes an antecedent of the market share. If you are accessible to the market to a higher extent, then in that case your possibility of increasing the market share is higher as compared to some other brands whose accessibility in the market is not that high. But remember that to improve the accessibility, it is a capital intensive work. If you want to make your product available at every nooks and corners, probably you have to understanding with various distributors, wholesalers and retailers. Balancing the firm's efforts in push means the building and maintaining the reseller and distributor support, and pull, that is generating the customers demand organically, is an ongoing strategic concern for the marketers, and that is where the metrics associated with distributions play an important role. Now, let us look at the purpose of numeric, all commodity volume and product category volume distribution matrix. Primary purpose is to measure the firm's ability to convey a product to its customers, or in other words, how easily the product is made available to the target set of customers, how conveniently the product is made available to them. Are they getting the product in nearest store, or they have to travel, let us say 5 kilometers to get my brand's product. In broad terms, marketing can be divided into two challenges. One is the challenges associated with the push approach, and another one is the challenges associated with the pull approach. So, in case of pull approach, you need to spend a lot of money in promotion. In case of push approach, you need to spend a lot of money in your distributions rather than the promotion, right. So, because if you can promote your product, if you can convince your customers that your product is superior as compared to your competitors, then in that case the retailers or any kind of resellers will be bound to keep the stock of your product. Otherwise, they are willing to search, they are willing to switch the outlet and not making any compromise on the brand, fine. So, to achieve something in terms of pull marketing, you have to spend a lot of money in terms of promotion, in terms of value proposition. But to get an advantage, to get an competitive edge in terms of push marketing, you must have a strong distribution network. Marketers have developed numerous metrics by which to judge the effectiveness of the distribution system that helps create opportunities to buy. Creating opportunities to buy means making the product, making the brand conveniently available for the customers. The most fundamental of these are measures of product availability. Availability metrics are used to quantify the number of outlets reached by a product. Out of 1000 outlets, if my brand is available in 900 stores, then my reach is 90%. Or in other word, I can say that accessibility level for my brand is 90%. The fraction of the relevant market served by those outlets and the percentage of total sales volume in all categories held by the outlets that carry the product. So, this is the primary purpose of the matrix associated with the channel management. Now, let us look at the construction of this three matrix. One is numeric distribution. Numeric distribution will tell you, let us say out of 100 related outlets, in how many outlets your existence is there. All commodity volume will tell you what percentage of total sales is accounted for the brands, for the outlets who are keeping your stock. Product category volume is a more refined versions of all commodity value, right. So, we will look into each of this matrix one by one with some numerical examples. Now, let us look at the overview of the numeric distribution matrix. This measure is based on the number of outlets that carry a product, that is outlets that list at least one of the products SKU, stock keeping units, means at least some portion of their stocks are being filled by a brand, with my brand. We are not talking here, we are not talking to what extent or what percentage of his overall stocks are from my brand. We are not talking about that, we are just talking about availability of my product. We are not talking about the quantity. It is defined as the percentage of stores that stock a given brand or SKU within the universe of stores in the relevant market. So, whenever we are doing a market analysis, we are always referring to a relevant market. Maybe the relevant market might be a city, the relevant market might be a country, or relevant market might be associated with that particular defined segment. The main use of the numeric distribution is to understand how many physical locations stock a product or a brand. This has implications for delivery systems and for the cost of servicing the outlets. So, it is not something like that having a better accessibility is always good, we always optimize it. What is the benefit of what incremental sales we are getting just because of making the product available in 100% of the stores, and let us say what is the cost of making this accessibility. We will always do a calculation, we will always do a cost benefit analysis, and accordingly we will come at a optimum point. Let us look at the construction of the numeric distribution matrix. To calculate the numeric distribution, marketers divide the number of stores that stock at least one SKU of the product or brand by the total number of outlets in that relevant market. So, as far as the formula is concerned, it is number of outlets carrying that particular product or that particular brand divided by total number of outlets available in the relevant market. So, if my brand is available in 900 stores out of 1000 stores, then in that case my numeric distribution is 90%. So, this is how the construct called numeric distribution is constructed. Let us look at this concept with an example. Alice sells photo albums to gift shops. There are 60 such stores in her area. In order to generate adequate distribution coverage, Alice believes she must reach at least 60% of these. In initiating her relationship with each store, however, Alice must provide the store with $4,000 worth of inventory to build the presence. To attain her distribution goal, how much will Alice need to invest in the inventory? I have earlier mentioned that establishing the distribution network is a capital intensive affair. So, we can derive the same from this example. So, I need 60% reachability of my brand in the entire market, but what I have to pay? Let us say I have to give them a inventory of $4,000. So, let us calculate the capital required to go for this strategy. To reach her numeric distribution target is 60%, Alice must build a presence in at least 36 stores, because total number of stores is 60. So, 60% of 60 is 36. She will therefore have to spend at least 144,000 USD to reach this accessibility level, 60% accessibility, fine. So, total cost is 36 stores multiplied by $4,000 for each of the stores. So, it gives you a value of $144,000. Now, let us look at the next metric, construction of the next metric, that is all commodity volume. All commodity volume is a weighted measure of product availability or distribution based on the total store sales. ACV can be expressed as a dollar value or in terms of percentage. So, implications if we consider this metric in terms of dollar will be different as compared to implications when we consider this metric in terms of number of units sold or percentage. The dollar value of the store sales in all categories by stores in question, or the percentage in comparison with all stores in the relevant universe, in the relevant market. So, therefore, as far as the formula for this particular metric is concerned, it is total sales of stores carrying that particular brand, if we are calculating it in terms of dollar. So, total sales in terms of dollar for the stores carrying that particular brand divided by total sales in terms of dollar by all the stores in the relevant market. So, that gives me a all commodity value for this particular brand, right. So, basically it talks about my importance and my level of existence in the market. Look at this example. The marketers at Madras Tortillas want to know the all commodity volume of their distribution network. It is shown in this table. We have 4 outlets, and for each of this outlet the amount of sales in a particular season is given, and then for each of this outlet what we are having is also the amount of tortilla sales. Okay. So, then on the right hand side 2 columns we have Madras Tortillas SKU stocks and let us say another Madras Tortillas SKU stocked. So, as we can see that as far as this Madras Tortillas SKU stocks are concerned, we have this existence in 3 stores, that is store number 1, 2 and 3, but we are not existent in store number 4. So, Madras Tortillas are carried by store 1 to 3, but not by the store 4. The ACV of this distribution network is therefore the total sales of store 1, 2 and 3 divided by the total sales of all the stores, store 1 to store 4. This represents a measure of the sales of all commodities in these stores, not just the tortilla sales. So, therefore, whenever we are going for calculating the ACV, we will not look into this tortilla sales, we will look into the what is the overall sales, right. So, Madras Tortillas ACV will be sales of stores 1 to 3 divided by all store sales. So, for 1 to 3 the total sales are 100,000 plus 75,000 plus 50,000 divided by 100,000 plus 75,000 plus 50,000 plus 40,000. So, basically all commodity volume percentage is 84.9%. Basically what we are calculating is that the overall sales of all categories of product in those stores which are keeping my brand, right. So, if this percentage is high, then in that case we can fairly say that how bigger are my stores who are keeping my brand. So, if this value is small, then probably even if my overall distribution coverage is better, then I can fairly say that these stores who are keeping my brand, they are not big stores. They are small stores, but numbers, as far as numbers are concerned, they are big. Let's say there are total 100 stores, and out of 100 stores, in extreme cases, let's say 99 stores are making a overall sale of 100,000 in a year. But the 100th store, it is making, let's say, 50 million in a year. In that case, my overall cover, and let's say my product is, my brand is available in this 99 stores, but not on the 100 stores. In that case, my overall coverage percentage is high, 99%, but probably my all commodity volume value will be lesser, because the value, I mean the revenue that is created by the store which is not keeping my brand is very high. It is probably an outlier. Let's try to have an understanding, have an overview of the next matrix, which is termed as product category volume. This particular matrix is a refinement of the ACV. In many countries, this matrix is also known as weighted distribution. So, now we will not only talk about the total volume, we will also try to look into the weighted distribution. It examines the share of the relevant product category sold by the stores in which a given product has gained distribution. It helps marketer understand whether a given product is gaining distribution in outlets where the customers look for its product category, as opposed to simply high traffic stores where the product may get lost in the aisles. Fine. So, let us look at the construction of this matrix product category volume. The percentage share or the dollar value of the category sales made by the stores that stock at least one SKU of the brand that is in question or that is under consideration in comparison with the all stores in their universe. So, if I look at the formula, it is the total category sales by stores carrying that particular brand divided by total category sales of all the stores. How is it different from ACV now? So, in this case, we are not talking about the total sales of the shop, of the outlet. Rather, we are concentrating, we are capturing the value of the total category sales rather than the total sales across categories, right. So, the same example that we have given earlier, we can calculate the product category volume as well, and it will not same as the all commodity volume. When detailed sales data are available, PCV can provide a strong indication of the market share within a category to which a given brand has access, right. If the sales data are not available, marketers can calculate an approximate PCV by using square footage devoted to the relevant category as an indication of the importance of that category to a particular outlet or to a particular store type. So, this is how we construct this metric called product category volume. Now, let's have a review at the same example. We will try to calculate this metric, that is product category volume. So, I am not going to explain you the example again, the facts associated with the example will remain the same. Now, we are going to calculate the product category volume. As we have seen that store 1, 2 and 3 stocks the Madras tortillas, store 4 does not stock the Madras tortillas. The product category volume of Madras tortillas distribution network can be calculated by dividing the tortilla sales. Now, we are talking about only tortilla sales rather than all sales in store 1 to 3 by tortilla sales throughout the market. So, now rather than considering all sales values such as 100,000, 75,000, 50,000, I am only considering the tortilla sales. So, it is 1000 plus 500 plus 300 divided by 1000 plus 500 plus 300 plus 400, and this value is 81.8%. On the other hand, our ACV value was somewhere close to 84 point some percentage. right. So, these two values are different and indication or implications of these two metrics are also different. Basically, the ACV matrix refers to how big the outlets are who are stocking your brand. In this case, it indicates the quantum of category sales as compared to the market by the outlets who are keeping your stock. Fine. So, the difference are clear. Now, we will derive another matrix which will be derived in terms of these two matrix, the PCV and the ACV, and this is called category performance ratio. The relative performance of a retailer or retailers in a given product category compared with the performance in all product categories. By comparing the PCV with the all commodity volume, the category performance ratio, category means of that particular product line, provides an insight into whether a brand's distribution network is more or less effective in selling the category of which that brand is a part, and it will be compared with the average effectiveness in selling all the categories in which the members of that network compete. So, basically what is the category consumption level for those outlets where our brand has a presence divided by what is the consumption level of the category in the entire market. So, category performance ratio as per the definition is concerned, it will be a ratio of product category volume in terms of percentage divided by all category volume in terms of percentage. If a distribution network's category performance ratio is greater than 1, then the outlet comprising the network perform comparatively better. Means if this value is greater than 1, then we are better off as compared to other outlets who are not stocking our product in terms of this category. But if it is lesser than 1, in that case our performance is worse than the average performance in the market. So, now you can just look into this ratio. So, the PCV for Madras tortillas distribution network was 81.8% and ACV value was 84.9%. Therefore, the category performance ratio is 81.8 divided by 84.9, which gives us a value of 0.96, which is slightly lower than the value 1. If the value is 1, the outlets who are keeping my stock are performing at par the outlets in the market. But as it is slightly lower than 1, we can say that outlets that is keeping my stock is performing slightly worse in terms of this category of products as compared to the entire market. Madras has succeeded in gaining distribution in the largest store in its market. Tortilla sales in those stores, however, run slightly below the average of all commodity sales in those stores relative to the market as the whole. That is, the outlets carrying Madras show a slightly weaker focus on the tortillas than the overall universe of stores in the market. So, focus is slightly lower than the focus in the entire market. Next, we will move into two different metrics. Again, these are also related to your channel management. One is called the facing and another is called the share of shelf. Basically, facing is a frontal view of the single package of a product on a fully stocked shelf, right. So, facing means is it faced towards the customers. You can internalize this particular concept as, let us say, if my brand Amul is made available in a particular outlet, then is it visible to my customers or not, or is it just kept inside the refrigerator, but other items, other brands are being kept in the front. So, basically it talks about the level of visibility. Then I mean another metric which is called the share of self. So, share of self is something like share of availability of your brand as compared to others, as compared to brands from the entire market. It is a metric that compares the facing of a given brand to the total facing positions available in the category in order to quantify the display prominence of that particular brand. In a way, whether my brand is made visible by the sales space of the outlet or not, that can be captured in terms of share of self. So, basically it is a ratio between facing of the brand in terms of numbers divided by total facing in that particular category, right. So, this is what is for today. I'll try to discuss some other metrics associated with supply chain and other channel management topic in the subsequent classes. Thank you. I hope to see you in the next class.